Welcome to School of the Lost Tribes Radio, where the Word speaks not to the world, but to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Clarity helps generate the lessons needed to seal the chosen before the destruction. The unveiling of Israel, a stern rebuke to the scattered. Do we begin again to commend ourselves? Or need we, as some, epistles of commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you? You're our epistle, written in our hearts, known and read of all men. The scattered Israelites are not hidden. You are not lost in the eyes of heaven. You are read and known, whether in Corinth, in Galatia, or in the isles afar off. You are the letter, not written by men, but branded by your affliction and preserved by the covenant. Your presence in the nations is not an accident. It is a testimony. For as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Christ ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not in tables of stone, but in fleshy tables of the heart. This declaration is not about religious performance. It is not about who joined which denomination. It is about who you are. The apostles wrote nothing new. They confirmed what the prophets declared long before, that Yahweh would write his law in your inward parts and on your hearts. This was spoken to the house of Israel and the house of Judah alone. The world reads the ink, but heaven reads the Spirit. The Spirit does not write on stone for all the nations. It writes on Israel's heart, the covenant heart, a fleshly heart, renewed by mercy. This is not universal grace. This is covenantal fulfillment. And such trust have we through Christ to God-ward. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God. There is no room for pride, not in Paul, not in the apostles, and certainly not in us. All sufficiency is from the one who called Jacob and never forgot him. The sufficiency is not human. It is divine, and it is directed, not to the world, but to the remnant of Israel scattered among the nations, who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. Ministers of the new covenant, made, not born, appointed by God to speak to the covenant people, not to a mixed multitude. This ministry is not of the letter, engraved in stone, pronounced death. Israel transgressed and died, but the Spirit, the promise spoken by Ezekiel, brings life, life to Israel, breath to dry bones, flesh to the dispersed. The New Testament is not for the strangers, it is for those once under the first. But if the ministration of death, written and engraven in stones, was glorious, so that the children of Israel could not steadfastly behold the face of Moses for the glory of his countenance, which glory was to be done away. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit be rather glorious? Yes, even the old covenant came with fire, trembling, and glory. The face of Moses terrified the tribes, yet that glory was fading. It pointed to something greater. If that which was to be abolished had weight, how much greater is that which endures? This greater glory is not for every man. It is for the sons of Jacob. For if the ministration of condemnation be glory, much more doth the ministration of righteousness exceed in glory. Israel was condemned under the law, broken tablets, broken hearts. Yet even then it was glorious. But now righteousness is ministered by the Spirit, and it exceeds. It does not erase the past, it fulfills it. The covenant remains, transformed, not abandoned, renewed, not replaced. For even that which was made glorious had no glory in this respect, by reason of the glory that excelleth. The fading glory of Sinai shrinks before the radiance of Zion. The veil between flesh and spirit is torn, but not for all mankind, only for those whose names were written from the beginning. The glory that excels is the glory of Messiah over Israel. For if that which is done away was glorious, much more that which remaineth is glorious. What remains is not a new religion. It is not a global outreach program. It is the house of Israel restored in spirit. What remains is the unshakable promise to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob. The throne of David remains. The covenant with Judah remains. All else is vanity. Seeing then that we have such hope, we use great plainness of speech. So hear this plainly, scattered tribes. This is your inheritance. This is your calling. This is not for Rome, not for Greeks by race, but for Israelites who speak Greek, the Hellenized sons of Ephraim, the dispersed of the northern house, the remnant of the covenant people, and not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Israel could not steadfastly look to the end of that which is abolished. But their minds were blinded, for until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Christ. The veil is not just on Moses, it is on the hearts of Israel when they read with flesh, not spirit. The Old Covenant cannot be understood apart from Christ, but Christ is not presented to the nations. He is presented to his people, to Israel alone. The veil remains over all who deny him. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. They search the scriptures, but see not the fulfillment. The veil is thick, and it covers their eyes, not because God is unjust, but because Israel still resists, but not forever. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. Not whosoever. It shall turn. Israel shall turn. The veil shall be lifted, not by human effort, but by divine will. The turning is not general. It is prophetic. It is reserved. The veil is for Israel, and its removal is Israel's awakening. Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not liberty to do as thou wilt, not liberty to invent new doctrines, but liberty from the curse of the law, liberty from exile, liberty from blindness. This liberty belongs to the elect, to the chosen, to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But we all, with open face beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. Only Israel can be changed into this image. The others were never promised transformation. From glory to glory means from law to spirit, from exile to regathering, from blindness to sight. This is the image of Messiah reflected in his people, Jacob renewed. This word is not for the stranger. It is not for Rome. It is not for Babylon. It is not for the Gentile nations who were never part of the first covenant. The world is not grafted into a tree it never belonged to. The branches are not new. They are regrafted. The Spirit does not write randomly. He writes on the hearts of the seed of Abraham, the seed of Jacob, and the glory that remains belongs to them. You cannot universalize this covenant without robbing it of meaning. If everyone is Israel, then no one is. If every nation is elect, then election is a lie. If the promises belong to all, then they belong to none. But we reject that lie. We reject that blasphemy. The God of Israel is not a respecter of persons, but he does respect his covenants, and his covenant is with one people, one house, one seed, and he has not cast away his people whom he foreknew. The veil is lifted when Israel turns, not when Rome legislates, not when theologians philosophize, but when the children of Jacob, wherever they are scattered, hear the voice and return. So hear, O Israel, the Spirit is calling, the ministers are sent, the veil is thinning, the covenant remains, the King is coming, and he comes not for all nations, he comes for his own. Revelation 18:4, And I heard another voice from heaven, saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Summary and explanation. In this verse, a voice from heaven gives a clear and urgent command to a specific group, my people. This phrase refers to the scattered children of Israel, who are still living within Babylon, symbolic of the corrupt, idolatrous systems of the nations. The instruction is not to unite with the nations, but to separate from them, come out of her. Why? So that Israel does not share in the sins and judgments that are about to fall upon the heathen nations. This is not a message of racial unity or inclusion. It is a command for racial and spiritual separation, preserving the covenant people from destruction. The Bible teaches that salvation and protection are tied to obedience and separation, not integration with the world. Revelation 18.4 proves that the Most High is calling His people, Israel, to stand apart, while the other nations face judgment. There is no invitation for all races to join together as equals in this command. It is a protective call to the elect, the ones who are being gathered from among the nations for the kingdom. Revelation 19:11 to 15:11. And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew, but he himself. 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahweh. 14. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. 15. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Yahweh. Summary and explanation. In these verses, John is shown the vision of Yahweh Shai returning in power and judgment. Verse 11 shows him riding a white horse, representing victory and righteousness, and he is called faithful and true, coming to judge and to make war, not to invite all nations into a shared rulership. Verse 12 describes his eyes as flames of fire, symbolizing pure judgment, and many crowns, symbolizing that he is the supreme ruler over all. His name, known fully only to himself, emphasizes his divine authority and mystery. Verse 13 reveals that he is clothed in a vesture dipped in blood, symbolizing vengeance, not only the blood of his own sacrifice, but also the blood of those he comes to destroy. He is identified as the Word of Yahweh, connecting him directly to John 1:1, the eternal authority sent forth. Verse 14 shows that the armies of heaven follow him, clothed in righteousness, ready to carry out judgment. Verse 15 is crucial. From his mouth goes a sharp sword, and he will smite the nations, not save or unite them. He will rule the nations with a rod of iron, enforcing strict authority and subjugation, not democracy or unity among all races. He treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Yahweh, meaning he will crush the rebellious nations just as grapes are crushed in a winepress. Thus, Revelation 19:11 to 15 clearly shows that Yahweh Shai returns not to unite the world, but to destroy, judge, and subjugate the nations, while restoring and glorifying Israel as the rightful ruling nation under his kingship. Revelation 21:10 through 12. 10. And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from Yahweh. 11. Having the glory of Yahweh, and her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Summary and explanation. In these verses, John is shown a vision of the New Jerusalem, the holy city prepared for the redeemed. It descends from heaven, filled with the glory of Yahweh, radiating pure and dazzling light. Crucially, the city's structure reflects Israel's exclusive covenant identity. It has 12 gates, and at each gate is the name of one of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. There are no gates named after Gentile nations or a universal church. Only the tribes of Israel are honored as the entrance into the kingdom. The presence of angels at the gates emphasizes the sacredness and the guarded purity of this city. Thus, Revelation 21:10 through 12 confirms that the final kingdom and eternal city are for Israel, and entry into this kingdom is through the restored and redeemed tribes of Jacob. All who enter must be part of Israel, either by bloodline or by being grafted into Israel under Israelite rule. But the foundation remains exclusively the 12 tribes, as originally chosen by Yahweh.